I am Tabitha. That is James. We are here to enlighten your day or run it, and we are excited to do so.
Let's do this shit.
When is cost justified?
God. Anytime
Yeah.
you're going to be bad at a thing.
Like, when is cost going justified? Because I know this is something that I actually talked about last night that really pissed me off. Because a lot of the spiritual willy nilly,
Mhm.
not insulting all spiritual people, but we can all acknowledge there's predatory people in the
Yep.
world. And the investing yourself of getting you to invest in dumb shit that you don't need.
Yep. They're asking you to buy a class. Unless it's Tabitha's class. Tabitha's is the only good one. Do you have a class? I don't
I don't even have class anymore
and
because I was like, people want you to do it, not to teach them how to do it.
yeah.
And you taught me
Well,
that.
I'll do
James, telling you when your ideas suck.
it. I hope I was nice about it.
It was from
Apparently I
your
was. They're still
blog,
doing
the
that.
client's blog.
Yeah.
Yeah, link down below. Everyone, I feel like everyone and their mother and their grandmother, and well, your grandfather can read it too. It's not for women only. But I was like, that is I feel like so life changing. And I talk about that at least once a week. Is the fact that you can sit there and have this idea. And then this ties into justifying the cost. You have an idea. I had an idea that I felt like was fucking great. It was something that was obviously needed,
Mhm.
but I didn't look at the market of it. Like, I was like, oh, well, this is a problem and this is a solution. I didn't look at people don't want to fucking do it. That's why they don't fucking do it.
Yeah, no, like betting on the laziness of the average human is the reason we have all these AI tools right now. Well, that and a host of macroeconomic factors. But no, like people are lazy, right? I got sent a tweet because it's the only way I see them of somebody talking about like they were talking to their little cousin who's now in college and they were like, I can't believe people used to write 10-page papers without chat GPT. And I'm like, I wrote an entire master's thesis in a bedroom and it was awful the whole time and I hated it.
I, I just feel like, not to go down depressing, but I watched the movie Wall-E. Like, that's what happens whenever you put everything into you no longer
Yeah.
do anything.
Well, and so there's an interesting piece for where we started. So when is cost justified and when is automation justified? Right? Because this is something I spend a lot of time thinking about for myself is, yeah, I don't want to do things, right? So I hire them out, right? We'll keep going with bookkeeping as being an example, right? It's a human, right? And she works for the CPA that I work with and they do great work. I'm super thrilled. I don't do anything, right? I've just given them access to my bank account. She categorizes all the things, but on the back end, like QuickBooks does this, right? Anybody who's working with that, like it tries to automate a lot of these processes, right? Badly, but I don't even do the backstop check of like, is this in the right category unless she has a question, because I just have a lot of recurring charges, right? There's software, but software is the same every month. But even this morning was playing around with taking my big strategic roadmap that I have for the next couple of years, and you working with one of the chatbots to distill it down into a series of tasks for each month, and then having it assign dates to those tasks. And it was like, great, we kind of got there. It took a while, but we did it. And it was, again, like here is a place where I will say something nice about AI. It did extend my ability to do that quickly. Like once I had really defined what I wanted from it, it was able to produce a reasonable output. But then I want to import it into another system that I use for task tracking and project management. One can only export it as a CSV. And in order to import it into the other one, I have to have an additional 3 automation steps in order to get into it. So I'm like, all right, do I take now the like couple of hours it's going to do to push this in, right? What's the time value of my money versus the probably half an hour it's going to take for me to get this set up in a meaningful way? I'm probably only going to ever use it once and it's going to cost me $30. Like, where's the trade-off there? And what the trade-off ended up actually being is that I just, the first month, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll do it once a month. It'll be fine. But drawing that line is just for me is kind of in an arbitrary place a lot of the time. I'm like, do I want to experiment with this or do I not? Is this something I'm interested in learning about and being better at, or is it bookkeeping, where I'm very happy to outsource this in its entirety to somebody who's good at it, right? Social media. Thank you, Tabitha, where I have outsourced all of my social media presence to my lovely co-host. So if she talks smack to you, it is 100% Tabitha, and thank you for that.
Used AI in a new way this week that I've never done, and it was something I worry. That's something I do. It is my
Mhm.
hobby. I am OCD.
Your hobby is worrying. Is that
Yeah, that's what I used to always I
okay?
was like, "That's my pastime, I worry."
This is your gender profile is gonna be wild.
Like, I will think about you all the time. All the time, all the time, all the time. No, no, I don't have a Tinder anymore for legal reason. No. Oh, you can do a lot from 100 yards away. No, no. But I had to go to the car dealership because I'm like, I'm just about to drive over 2,000 miles. Might want to get the old gal checked out. And so took her in. And the thing with going to a car dealership and not with, a trusty mechanic nearby is sometimes you get to play the car dealership game,
Mhm.
which fucking sucks. Especially when I already had to go in there and lied saying I had a dad in the first place and he was curious about this problem and this
Mhm.
happening and I'm just making up shit about hypothetical person.
Yeah.
Sexism. But there was all of these things that I was concerned about with the drive. And so what I used ChatGPT for, which I've never done before, was when they give me little things that they're like, this is a critical thing to get replaced because everything's been critical. I've had
Mhm.
critical brakes and then drove to a brake place and they're like, dealership tell you need brakes? And I was like, "No." They're like, they lied. Took my tire off to show me the brake. But sat there and chat GPT what would happen if I did not fix this issue and the advantages of fixing that issue, the benefits of it, which are things I don't know shit about cars. I don't want to know shit about cars other than how to change a tire and do minor things to make sure I don't get stranded on the road. But being able to pull all that information without having to go find some other third person to ask about it or just hoping that they aren't lying to me about how critical something is or what the symptoms of this are. Because I thought I was a crazy person. Talk about worrying. I was like, occasionally I smell radiator. And sometimes I smell things and they don't exist. Worrying. Go to your local doctor.
Is it
Sponsored
burnt
by.
toast? Is that
But occasionally, and so it was this coolant valve that had this little clog in it that if you don't do that, you could crack a radiator in places you don't want to crack a radiator is
yeah,
in Arizona in the summer.
yeah. And that is a good thing to have as you're trying to drive across the high desert.
Yeah.
No,
So
like, again, I think to get to the outsourcing, like back to the outsourcing bit, like, yeah, as like a first pass tool for things, sure. Does it pass the sniff test? Yeah. Like as a planning tool, I think it's fine. I think it's still people are still figuring out what the actual use cases are for it, which is why we see so many different like broken out pieces, right? Like everybody's system now has AI in it. Like my project management system does. I can't import a CSV of tasks, but it absolutely has AI. What? Uh, but no, like using the tools that are at hand, whether they be automation, whether they be AI, whether they be another human, right, to extend your ability to do the thing that you're good at, I think is really the important bit, right? And
and that
that's when it's justified, right?
like my thing is I don't have a lot of time. I could have very well I've gone to the Ford dealership here in town. I don't drive a fucking Ford. So anytime there's a part needed, it's at least 3 extra hours for every part. I could have gone here. Convenient right here. I could have I spent 11 hours at the dealership in San Antonio. So add how many more hours or how long I would have had to leave my car there, probably for days, to get something fixed. That chances are it was dealership is gonna be more expensive no matter what. However, I probably found a new client while I was there. I met almost everybody while I was there. And yeah, I know that building better than anybody now, and I was able to get it done in one day. So that, to me, paid for itself.
Yeah. Well, and, now, not just the, like, emotional justification of doing things this way, right? Of pushing stuff onto other people, but, the time value of your money, right? Like, what else could you be doing right now that would be a bigger benefit to you? And not sitting at a dealership is a great benefit, right? Both emotionally and financially.
And they
Yeah.
show HGTV at this one and not just Fox News like the other one. So just saying.
That would be enough to get me to go there.
Sometimes it's funny to watch.
And
It's angering, but it's funny.
no. Yeah, no, I think, you know, you can do the math on it. Like, there is actual math to do around, like, cost benefit analysis, and, you know, you can assign value to, like, different outcomes, and you can do the math. It's like, what is this gonna take? And, if number is positive, great. If number is negative, don't do that thing. I do think a lot of those models exclude the emotional value of it and the lifestyle value of it. Right. I am good enough at math that I could do all my own bookkeeping, and frankly do it probably fast enough that it wouldn't be outrageously more expensive, but I don't want to. And it would just make me mad. And that's enough. Yeah. But I do think that it gets lost in the conversation a lot of times around, like, when should you bring on help? Right? When should you, and I am generally of the opinion it is earlier than you think, because you need to be focused on the things that are driving actual revenue in your business and not admin, and not making sure, like, somebody has picked up the mail or any of those things, right? Outsource that shit, right? I'm not saying you should jump on Fiverr and find, like, the cheapest human in the Philippines who might actually do something for you someday, but you probably know somebody who's looking for side hustle money. And I'm not giving you tax advice, but, like, I'm not gonna turn you in if you just pay them under the table. So I'm not an
It
accountant.
it's true. Like, how many websites have I set up where you fully were capable of building your own website?
Oh, yes.
How much longer would it have taken you if you wanted to do that, though?
I mean, how long did it take you to do it? Because I'm a terrible client.
I mean, not that long, not that long. I'm
Uh,
still working on that church because they have a committee that has to meet to okay everything.
Bureaucracy. No, like, yeah, dude, I absolutely could have, and I've built websites for myself in the past, and it's not gonna be as nice, and it's gonna take a lot longer, and I'm it's not a skill set that I wanna get better at, because I don't have to, because I have Tabitha. Um,
Well, it's like our all the way back to moving. I feel like I have driven a cattle trailer before. So I've driven a big thing with moving live animals inside of it. Not that I would have cattle inside a U-Haul, but I could have done it.
That's
However,
interesting the way you describe your
how many
child.
people would have been injured on the road
Yeah.
for that journey?
Yeah. No, it is the nice thing about having a common currency, is that we can just pay people to do things, and they will do them often better than you will. And I guess kind of getting over yourself about it a little bit is helpful, especially if you started a thing on your own. Right? You can't be good at everything, and you can't give everything the attention it deserves. Tabitha is good at everything. I am good at the one thing.
Well, I think that also zone of genius
Yeah, yeah.
of how much the taxes on your human form to be pulling something that, yes, you can do, but take my worrying, I can probably drive a U-Haul. How many
Yeah,
panic attacks will I have on that journey? How high will my insurance go? Like,
yeah, would it suck the whole time? Yeah, yeah, it would.
no, like it's, they're actually selling the house again next door.
Mm.
And it was like one of those, what is it? What are the people that they don't do them?
Like
They're
flipping
house
it? What does it
flippers,
mean?
but they do the shitty house flips.
Slumlords.
Yeah. Well, Slumlord was the original person. And
Ah.
so I talked to them yesterday about what the house originally looked like and what
Mhm.
happened to it. If they have questions, I watched the whole thing get built. But Now she has people that are actually skilled in what they do, doing this amazing landscaping and actually going to make the house worth what it's going to be charged for. And it's just like she probably could have gotten out there. I saw her moving out. Girl has skills. Does she want to go lay a driveway with like super pretty little bricks? Probably not.
To buy the tools to do the thing, to spend the days when you can hire a crew who's already got all that stuff. All the infrastructure is there. And and now we're just justifying ourselves as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, just hire a consultant to come in and help you. Like, especially if it's a one-off project. Shoot, yeah, come on.
I
Like,
mean, come
you don't
on.
have to spin up an entire everything just to do something one time, right? And even then, if turns out it's more than one time, you should come out of it having a process that you can just replicate at that, right?
Like strategic roadmap.
Yeah,
Both of us do. I remember whenever I was like, I'm gonna start a business, original business. And I was
yeah.
like, I didn't fucking have a plan. I was just like, I'm gonna do the thing because like 75 YouTube videos were like, just believe. And I was like, I'll just believe in myself and it'll all work out. I wish I could sue everybody that says that on like really do. But you can't. So there you go.
But it does get you like thinking through the process and being able to really dig into what am I going to do versus what can I outsource and what can I afford to outsource, right? If you're bootstrapping a business, it's definitely a lot harder. You are going to do most of the things because your time is not free, but it is free to you. So, yeah,
And that's a honest conversation to have with someone building your strategic roadmap.
yeah.
That those things can be laid out in a way that's categorized in a way that you can do those steps with those driven for these are your journeys and your little tasks that are very big tasks that you're going to have to accomplish to make the thing because doing your taxes is a lot different of set of tasks for you than for handing it to the nice lady.
Yeah, yeah. No, I just send them all of the paper every year and it magically turns into a tax return. And sometimes I owe people money and sometimes I don't. And that's really nice. I don't know. I'm like the amount of effort that goes into being a good CPA is a decade of your life, right? Like, I'm not going to do that. There's no way I can do that. I'm halfway to dead at this point, and I'm not going to spend the time on it. But it's very worth it to me to be able to outsource stuff like that, right? It's very worth it to me to outsource social media presence. It's very worth it to me to be able to just focus on the things that I'm genuinely good at, right? Finishing this friggin' book, right? Getting talking smack to entrepreneurs, right? Those are the things that I'm good at. Everything else is just gravy. But no, like you can just get up and tell stories, right? Some of my favorites. But yeah, no, I think that's the long way around to being like there's no firm answer as to when you should, right? It's can you and do you want to? And but being able to have that open conversation with yourself at least, or buy an hour of my time and let's talk it out. Tabitha does this too, right? It's not therapy. 1,000,000%. We're not helping you with your personal problems. But if you need to chat with somebody about like making a decision like this, sure, that's a reasonable thing to do, especially if you're kind of winging it or like you're going on your own, the low barrier to entry pieces of this to just have an extra set of eyes on a problem, super helpful.
Like, I'm going to throw out an example and I'm going to talk shit. Never mind. I quit that sentence. Mid-sentence. Program that I was in, I wish I could get a refund on, but they had a whole bunch of people sign up with no business to sell a thing. And
Mhm,
then the business that they pushed them to try and make, one of the girls was like, well, I'll do moon circles for $20 a person. Well, there's only one full moon in a month.
mhm. What is
How
a
many
what is a
people?
moon circle, Tabitha?
It really depends on the type of moon circle you're going to. There's some very fun ones, and there's some like we're gonna get real comfy with each other real fast. There's
I still don't know quite what is supposed to be happening here, but it definitely sounds like a sex thing.
I have not attended, let me disclaimer, I have not attended one of these. I watched an entire, like, talk through it where they,
You just watched? Is
DJ
that while they were
diddled
doing the sex thing? Is that
as a crew, like, their solo experience, but as a collective
okay?
uh, but then there's just meditation and
Sure.
singing bowls. Like, there's a very big spectrum of what your moon circle could be. Anyone can start one. Just no barrier to
So
entry.
just so I understand, it is a group of people who get together to sort of like do a thing around the lunar cycle.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
understood.
new moon, full moon, whatever fucking moon that you want to like deal with, moon circle. So $20 per person for a moon cycle thing. The class was multi five figure.
Whoa.
So how many fucking moon circles and people to turn a profit? So this is something that would have been nice to, hi James, I have something that I'm thinking about investing in for my business. Here's my business idea. And I probably would have got in there and you would have said, go do that.
Yeah. That don't
And then I
math.
would have said this program costs X amount and you would have said, are you on drugs? No. But having somebody else, because and this is someone kind of led you along to this belief, but is you have to be realistic and have that conversation with yourself or have someone that can step in and once again value of a strategic roadmap is having someone a
Yeah,
heavy investment for something that is not, I don't want to say, I know there, I don't want to like piss people off because I'm like not profitable,
yeah.
but
Well, they're
it was
not. And like,
extremely hard to turn a profit from that.
yeah. Well, and you know, you talk about market sizing, right? Who are you selling to? And I think a lot of people, and this is for me having come from, the entrepreneurship as well as the nonprofit backgrounds, right? Founders in particular tend to conflate themselves personally with the idea or the organization, right? And so to criticize a business model is to criticize that person, right? And you gotta have a little distance on there, right? To
Not
be
your
like,
baby,
I mean, even if it is your baby, or even if you love it dearly,
not your
right?
baby.
You send your kids to school, right? Your kid goes somewhere else, maybe not some of like Tabitha's folks, but like your kid goes to somewhere else and learns from other people, right? And so they get that like input level. And that's really what we're talking about here is just as you're building this thing out, as you're really starting to think through all the different parameters in it, talking to people. And it doesn't have to be us. It should be because we'd like to get paid, but it could be anybody who's reasonably successful at running a business, right? Get their perspective on it, right? One of my favorite questions to ask is like when I'm sort of tooling on a new business idea is would you invest in this? If I asked you for money, like in a very concrete way, don't beat around the bush. Be like, if I asked you for $40,000, would you give it to me based on this idea and who you know that I am? And if the answer is no, or they hedge, spend a lot of time thinking about that, right? That's a moment for soul searching because you may have not done all of your due diligence yet. You may have not been able to explain it really well. Like, it in your noggin, right? You are the only person that can see this clearly because it lives in your head. Right? The ability to articulate it in a way that's going to get other people on board, hugely important. I would say that of the pitch decks that I see, 70% just don't get there, right? I have to go dig in and to figure out what they're talking about. And if I have to do that, you're almost always in the nope.
Yeah. I feel like that in itself is its own journey of that if you can't explain it easy, like it took me a long time to come down to the I do the shit you fucking hate. That is almost exactly what it says on my business card now, which people like. But if you can't explain, like, especially with some of the, like, more woo-woo stuff, it takes 45 minutes to understand what experience I'm supposed to be experiencing. Meanwhile, you have people, and I'll use Mia Magic, who was exploded on the news for her rage rituals because of how wild you go pay
Yeah.
$3,000, you go out in the woods, you beat sticks, it's not paint on their faces and scream a lot. And that's a journey that, judging by James's face, he would have been like, I would not invest in that business.
I'm not the target demographic.
I don't know. I'm telling you, on whenever they turned off my water by and it wasn't supposed to be turned off for a week, I could have gone and screamed in the woods and beat some sticks.
Better to go stream in a utility office.
I word for word, I was like, "You tell him if they turn off my water again, I will bite him." And I'm not joking. Word for word, I will physically bite him. So this is why I have so many restraining order. No,
The list of places where Tabitha is allowed to go is actually shorter.
that's why I work from home. No, but the having someone just to bounce ideas off of, and that's also like having someone that's a good friend that will tell you there's a lot of people will have people that just want you to feel good and that's what they want, like you to feel good. I would feel better not wasting my money or my time. So having someone to honestly tell you, and that's why pulling in someone from the outside. I don't know if any of my friends would be super comfortable being like, no, Tabitha, that idea sucks.
Yeah, I'd do that for you.
Once again, I'm gonna link that blog down below. Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. So
It wasn't like a throwaway blog. Like I put a lot of work into it. I'm always amazed at how like it's how much it sort of impacted you as being like a worldview kind of thing.
well, it's just because there's a problem and a fix doesn't mean that's what the world needs. And I just
No, it's like you absolutely should be able to just fix a thing, but is it going to be is the fix going to be self sustaining? Right. We built an incredible amount of housing in the United States in the 1960s and the 1970s, and then we decided we were never going to maintain it again, and that's how we ended up with the projects. And yeah, dude, like you got to think through all of those parameters. You got to think through the long term too. So,
once
right.
again, all the way back to when should you do it yourself and when should you reach out? It's something you can, okay, bootstrapping.
Yeah.
You can go fucking hard. I remember whenever I got my bachelor's degree, I was staying up till 2 in the morning and waking up at 5 to go to work. I was surviving on caffeine alone. Could I have done that long term for the entire 2 years? Absolutely not. But I needed to make it through like that last semester. Oh my God, I was gonna fucking do it. A lot of people, whenever they start a business, it is so like outpouring. And so, yes, you can accomplish so much during that time. Can you do that forever? No, not without things that are illegal inside your body. And this is not an endorsement.
Yeah. Well, and the tremendous cost to yourself and to your relationships and do you want to live that way forever? Right. And that's really, especially as I've started to work on book stuff and really thinking about like my own weird little consulting practices. How do I want to live and not just how do I want to work? I've made a solemn promise to myself that I'm never going to miss a sports ball game, right, for my kid. Never, never going to miss. Nothing is as important to me as that.
I made the opposite promise for my kid. My kid didn't play sports.
But like, what do you want out of life, right? And this is the strategic roadmap stuff that Tabitha's talking about. Is like it all comes together. You got to mash it together at speed, and then you got to figure out how they work, like side by side, and that's a whole process to get through too.
And someone saying you can have one without the other is lying to you. So,
You can do it, but only temporarily, and then you have to apologize to the other one,
unless you're
often
the person with the
profusely.
sugar baby, like, or the sugar daddy, then I guess you can, quality of life is,
Well, and like, what are you doing during your money? How do you feel about it?
she feels real good.
Then good for her.
Looking real good. She's in Bali right now, having living her best life.
Well, she's doing better than we are.
I mean, not being in the US right now sounds super. Look at James. Look at James living the dream. Like, I'm just improving my US experience. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, been here 4 days, already lost 4 pounds. It's great. No, yeah. All right, kids. That's it. We're done. Go do something important with your lives. We'll talk to you later.